Picture the scene from 335 BC. A young man walks through the gardens of Athens. He's troubled by a question, something about virtue or justice or the nature of reality itself. He doesn't fully understand it yet. The question is still forming. Then he sees him. Aristotle, sitting under a tree, surrounded by a small group of students. The young man approaches. He asks his half-formed question. Aristotle listens, then responds, but not with a lecture, with another question, one that reframes everything. They go back and forth. The student pushes back. Aristotle adjusts, offers an analogy, tells a story, watches the student's face to see when understanding dawns. This is how the greatest minds in history actually learned. Not from scrolls, not from texts, from conversation, from the electric back and forth of two minds genuinely engaging with an idea together. Now flash forward to right now, to you sitting with a book. Maybe it's Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, or The Innovator's Dilemma, or Sapiens. Something that's supposed to change how you see the world. You're reading along and suddenly, there it is. A passage that feels important, but you don't quite get it. Or maybe you get it, but you want to know how it applies to your life specifically. Or you disagree and want to challenge the logic. Or you're curious about something the author references but doesn't fully explain, and you're stuck. The author wrote those words 2 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 2,000 years ago. They're not here. They can't hear you. They can't adapt to what you need. The book is frozen. Your questions evaporate into silence. For the last 30 years, since Jeff Bezos put books online and launched the digital reading revolution, we've been trying to solve the wrong problem. We made books cheaper, faster to access, easier to search. We put them on tablets and phones. We had celebrities narrate them in your ears while you commute. But we never made them come alive. Every other form of information has evolved into something adaptive and intelligent. Your GPS doesn't give you a static map. It watches where you are and recalculates in real time. Your music app doesn't play the same playlist for everyone. It learns what you love and surprises you with what you'll love next. Even your email now finishes your sentences because it understands context. But books? Still frozen in amber. Still the same words for the same person who needs to be convinced as for the expert who wants to go deeper. Still trapped in that Gutenberg paradigm, one author, millions of passive recipients, zero adaptation. What if we could break that? What if you could actually talk to Marcus Aurelius about Stoicism? Not read his journal entries, but have him as a philosophical companion who helps you navigate your specific struggles. What if you could interrupt Peter Thiel mid-explanation and say, wait, I don't buy that. What about this counterexample? And he'd respond in real time, adjusting his argument based on your pushback. What if you could ask Richard Feynman to explain quantum mechanics 7 different ways using analogies drawn from things you already understand until that moment when it finally clicks and you actually get it? This is what we're building at Pantheon AI. We call it Talking Books, but that name barely captures what's happening. This isn't an audiobook with a chatbot bolted on. This is the resurrection of that ancient Athenian model, learning through genuine dialogue, made possible by technology that didn't exist until right now. Because here's what makes this moment different. We finally have the pieces. We can ingest not just the books, but everything. The interviews where they said what they really meant. The speeches where they got passionate. The private letters where they revealed their doubts. The biographical context that shaped how they think. We can build a complete model of someone's intellectual architecture. How they reason, what they value, where they're consistent, and where they evolve. Then we can clone their voice, not some robotic approximation, but the actual rhythm, cadence, and tone that made them. And we can make it respond so fast that it doesn't feel like you're talking to software. It feels like conversation, like the person is actually there, actually listening, actually thinking about what you just said. We're building what Steve Jobs dreamed about in 1985. He gave this speech where he admitted something vulnerable. He was jealous of the students who got to study under Aristotle, who got to ask questions and receive answers tailored specifically to them, who learned through that ancient, powerful, irreplaceable method of one mind engaging directly with another. And Jobs said, with that characteristic audacity, that one day we'd build technology that lets us ask Aristotle a question. Everyone nodded. Everyone agreed it was inspiring. And then everyone went back to building slightly better e-readers. Not us. We looked at that vision and asked, why not? Why shouldn't you be able to talk to Aristotle or Einstein or Maya Angelou or anyone whose thinking shaped how we see the world? Why should the accident of when you were born determine who you can learn from? Why should the greatest teachers in history be trapped in static artifacts when we have the technology to let them teach again, to adapt, to respond, to meet each student exactly where they are? This is Pantheon AI. We're the knowledge company. Not because we're building a better reading app, but because we're rebuilding how knowledge moves between minds. From broadcast to dialogue, from frozen to living, from one size fits all to infinitely adaptive. The last disruption to books put them at your fingertips. This one puts them in conversation with you, and that changes everything. Because when you can actually talk to the ideas that matter, when you can question them, challenge them, explore them in the exact directions you need to go, you're not just consuming knowledge anymore. You're thinking alongside the people who created it. Welcome to the future of learning. Welcome to what happens when books finally wake up. Welcome to Pantheon AI.